Is Twitter dead or is Twitter dying? That's the question that's been going on since last year when Elon Musk bought it. October 27th, 2022, Elon Musk bought Twitter. And ever since then, it's been a decline for people. And people always say that Twitter is dead or Twitter's dying. But I think otherwise. I generally think Twitter is actually going up ever since Elon Musk approached it. So he bought it 27th of October 2022 last year. So he had it for 8 months, but it feels like forever. 12th of April of this year, he laid off around 80% of the staff. 80% of Twitter staff were laid off. And when that came about, a lot of people were kind of like skeptical, like why the 6,000 people were laid off? That's 80% of Twitter staff. And it didn't make sense at the time, but Elon Musk went on a podcast explaining how they didn't need that much people. How Facebook, Instagram, they all had much less people, much less staff, and they could do the job. Apparently it was too excessive, the amount of people they had, and was unnecessary. So him laying 80% of the staff was kind of a thing of, we don't need it. It's a business move at the end of the day. We're not going to pay for something we don't need. So they kind of removed it. That was the 12th of April. I think since October last year until April, they were kind of laying off. And the cutoff was, I think April, they laid off 80% of stuff, right? 15th of April comes around and he adds, or Twitter adds, the subscription thing where you basically can subscribe and you get verified. You pay, I don't know, $4 or $5, I think it was, and subscription comes about. When that came about, then again, people said Twitter was dying again because he's just adding random shit that has no like value to it, and it's kind of like ruining. Because at one point, having that verification meant you done something, but now anyone can just buy it, which really meant nothing. And when I would see someone tweeting, right, and I see they have verified, I'd know they're like somewhat like they have a full fan base and stuff like that. Ever since that came about on the 15th of April, you wouldn't know if they're actually verified, if they have a fan base, or it's just a random person trolling, right? So that was another thing where people were like, okay, Twitter's done. Twitter's gonna die. On the 5th of July, Mark Zuckerberg releases Threads, which was basically identical, if not literally copy and paste from Twitter, and it was supposed to rival Twitter. And people, when that was released, people just moved to Threads in the hopes of, okay, which is gonna kill off Twitter, and Elon is gonna just get fucked over, right? I think that was the hope. Quickly realized that's not reality. When that was released, I think on the day which was the 5th, on the 6th, it had the most, actually overtook Twitter when it comes to people Google searches. But that was just the first day. The 7th, you can see a decline, and then ever since then it's been on a decline. The reality of things is, right, I use Instagram for a reason, to see what people post, to see people's photos, right, and that's about it. I don't go Twitter to see what people post and they're like their day-to-day shit. Yeah, I go Twitter so I can see what people are saying, right? It's the same thing here, right? Each platform serves a point. So when Mark made the move, he knew Twitter was dying, or people wanted it to die, so he kind of put out a platform that would rival it or even take it away. But it backfired and it didn't work out. On the 13th of July, creators payout. Now it's the thing. What is the creators payout? It's basically, I think the way it works is from subscriptions, if I don't know, depending on the amount of views you get, monthly and stuff like that, you get paid out. I don't know how much it is, but I've seen the payouts of certain people, and it looks pretty alright. So the subscriptions came about April, then July they made it so from the subscriptions they would, I don't know how they distribute it, but they would. I think that's how it works, or it's literally just Elon Musk just paying, so like putting money, and then that pays off random people. Anyone on Twitter that gets views, it doesn't matter who you are, you would get paid, as long as you get like views. And I think you'd have to be obviously verified and shit like that. But then you would get paid from it, right? So that's like another thing that Elon did really well. Shows you that he's actually like gives a fuck. Because before that, you wouldn't be able to get paid unless it's from like a tweet, which is a brand deal ad. You would tweet brand and you'd get paid. But now, as long as your tweets get recognition and views, you would get paid from Twitter, right? And recently, a day ago or so, 24th of July, the rebranding happened for Twitter. Which now, when you write, if you want to go to Twitter, I think you still can use twitter.com, but if you put x.com, it direct you to Twitter. And if you saw Twitter right now, top left, it's X instead of bird. Every single thing that kind of Elon does, people always say, oh, he's killing Twitter, right? Twitter's dying because of what he's doing, right? And I don't feel like the branding is going to affect it or will affect it, to be honest. If anything, I think it's harmless. Like, I don't think people really care about rebranding. And the X, I think it's a symbol for him and his brand. It's like SpaceX, and then I think his son is X as well, like he's X something. So I think him realizing, all right, cool, Twitter, it's his now, but it doesn't fit in his brand. I think he wanted to like kind of sync it all together. SpaceX, X, now Twitter, and then I don't know, all that shit would make more sense. The question is Twitter dying? I don't think it. I don't think it is. Everything that he's done ever since he got Twitter, it's been on the up. Him laying off 80% of the staff, so they can cut costs and they can actually gain money. That made sense. Now subscriptions, that makes sense. Even Threads, an app identical to Twitter came out, but Twitter is still way more relevant, and people like now. When it came out, people were like kind of comparing it, but now the comparison, I think it's dead. The creators payout, people you can literally get paid. So as long as you tweet and shit like that, that's another incentive to be on Twitter. So all this together, I don't see Twitter dying. Like, look, in the future, Elon might do something, but as far as I see, people don't agree with the way he approaches shit, and they're always trying to like, you know what I'm saying, say that it's dying, when in reality, I do not see how it's dying. If anything, he's giving opportunities to people to actually make money from Twitter now. I don't know what's the qualifications or what's the requirements that you need to get or have for you to get paid from it, but I don't know how, but you can look into it. As long as Elon owns this app, people will always say it's dead or it's dying, but I think the argument is kind of now redundant. He's had it for 8 months, and all I've seen is like an increase of things that he's done, and a positive outlook to what it used to be. Twitter used to be like this. It went up, but it used to be a stalemate. It literally stalemate for a minute. But now, Twitter, for me, it's been going up. So, I mean, it's good to see. And I find it interesting that people hate the app, but tweet. Like, literally, I see people on Twitter trashing the app. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like Twitter's on the up, which is interesting to see that Mark Zuckerberg came out with an app to rival it, but it still failed, which is very interesting, to be honest. Very interesting that a whole app couldn't compete with Twitter. That's how you know Twitter or X is like trying to disagree with it. It's still a household name. But yeah, to answer the question, Twitter's not dead.